Okay. Robot voice. All right. For some reason today, I'm a little bit unsure that my tech is working, but it's working. We're recording. You can see me. I can see you. We're all good. Okay. All right. So this is class numero 3 of the series. And last week we did some of the side waist. Today we're going to incorporate some of that side waist into front of the front core and some of the low stuff as well. We're gonna do some kind of rotation. Oh yeah, and also we're gonna incorporate some overhead stuff. So how the arms and shoulders integrate into the core and vice versa. So some suggested props for today. We're gonna start on the back with something behind the back, like a yoga strap or resistance band for some breath. We'll do that with a block. So that's for the beginning. A looped band, if you have it. One heavy weight. I'm using a 10 today. A couple of lighter hand weights or medium weight hand weights, if you have those. A second block, if you have it. And then some sort of knee padding and sliders. We'll do a little bit of sliding on the forearms today. So have some space on the floor where you can glide. You know the drill. If you have hardwood floor, a blanket or towel works well. If you have carpet, you could use plastic bags or plastic Tupperware lids work better. Any questions about those props? Okay. Okay, letting one other person in here. And remember, if you don't have the props, you can still do the moves and still feel your body and breathe and do what you do. So no pressure there. Right. And I do have a neighbor dog that likes to bark excitedly during the day. So if you hear that, that's what that is. We do our best with what we got, don't we? So for today, we're going to take a block, place it between the legs, feet to the floor. And then you'll take, if you have a strap or a band, you'll take it behind the upper back in the upper rib cage region, your thoracic spine region, and then bring it underneath the armpits and around that side rib zone. You'll hold on to both ends and then come down to lay on your back. So knees are bent, block or something else is between the legs. And that band or towel or yoga strap is around that upper back. And you'll take the ends of the band or strap in the hands and reach your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. So you're stretching the arms upwards. And you can soften down the eyes here. Good, and then we'll focus on the sternum softening down towards the floor. So it's a bit of a softening from that front chest bone towards the floor beneath you. And you'll take a breath on your next inhale and see if you can expand ribs into the strap around your upper back and side rib. And then exhale and let the rib cage soften. You can even think about those low ribs knitting towards the hip bones. Breathing in, expanding into the band. Exhale, softening as the ribs gather in towards the spine. Let's go 3 more of those. Inhale. Notice if you can expand and sense movement of the ribs and thus the band out wide and down. Exhale. Everything contracts in towards the center of your spine. Last one. Those fists are reaching up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades getting a little bit of spread on the back. Good, so we'll keep the arms reaching up. You'll keep this position, hugging the block in between the thighs. You'll start to curl the spine up just bit by bit, starting tailbone, back of the pelvis, low back, mid back. And you're gonna lift your hips and spine up towards the ceiling while you keep that band down on the ground. So you're not gonna lift that, that upper back. Probably will be hard to with the arms up towards the ceiling anyways. And as you stay lifted here for a moment, you're gonna breathe into the band. So take an inhale and stay lifted as you exhale and soften the rib cage, soften the sternum. Try that 2 more times, breathing in, expanding into that strap, and then exhale, sternum soft. Do 1 more like that. Soft sternum, exhale, low ribs gathering towards the hips. Just getting a sense for that upper back, back spine, and front sternum. Good, you can soften the arms down, bring the hips to the floor, set the block off to the side. Just rest the arms down by the side, maybe let the knees knock in for a moment. You can close the eyes. And on the next couple breaths, clarify an intention for yourself. Just take a moment to notice what it is that you would like to focus on for the next hour or so. Perhaps it's the movement of your breath as we move. Or maybe it's something else that gives you some sort of grounded quality or internal guidance. We take 1 more breath here, expanding into those back and side armpit ribs. Exhale to soften that rib sternum zone. Last breath here. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, make your way on up. Good, and come up to kneeling or standing. You can choose, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do some spinal movement and some shoulder movement. So kneeling or standing. Place your hands towards the thighs, the knees, and start to round the upper back. Good, and we'll do just a little cat-cow here for a moment to get some movement through the spine. You can lift chest, lift tail, round spine, tuck the tail in. Good, and then we'll add in a little bit of a barrel roll for the rib cage. So the barrel roll, you'll take the rib cage and shift it over to the right a little bit, and then press it back, shift the rib cage over to the left, and then forward. So it's almost like you've got a jar of Jell-O and you're trying to scrape around the sides of the jar to get the whole Jell-O to release from the sides. Yeah, nice. You can have the chin tucked in, or you can have the head lifted, whatever feels good on the neck. Change direction with those barrel rolls. Right, so I'm demoing this kneeling. You could be standing. And then come back through center and bring the arms out in front of you, lifting up overhead. Good, and as you lift the arms overhead without changing anything, bring awareness down towards your low ribs. Notice if the low ribs and the chest are kind of popping up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to dramatize this. Notice if the top front ribs are just kind of lifting up. See if they can gather down and in, like that soft sternum exhale, even with the arms overhead. Just take another breath in here, arms lifted, low ribs gathering down, softening through the front of the chest. Start to reach your arms out in a T shape and then sweep the arms back behind you. You can flip the palms towards the ceiling if that feels all right. And then slowly release the arms down. You might have to bend the elbows or the wrists depending on if you're kneeling or not. And reach the arms back behind you one more time. Palms towards the ceiling. Reaching as high as you can go. And then bring the arms out wide to the sides like a T. Palms can face the floor. Good. Then flip the palms towards one another as the arms come up along the ears. And again, notice those low rib zones. If it feels all right, you can exhale those down. One last breath here. And sweep the arms T-shape. Sweep the palms back. Flip palms towards ceiling. And bring the arms down by the sides. And then bring the arms back. So just warming up the shoulders a little bit. Wide T. Arms lift overhead, softening the sternum, front chest bone, and then arms release down. Good. Close the eyes for a moment. Take a breath. Let your intention filter in. And make your way on up to stand if you haven't done so already. If you have a wall space nearby, you can lean up against a wall. If you don't have one, you could do this freestanding. Or you could have your hips resting against the back of a couch or something. We're gonna do some movement through the mid-back, this mid-spine region, your mid-core. If you have a wall, you're gonna lean your hips against it. Feet are away from the floor so that your knees can bend to a slight degree. You choose the foot distance. Further away, it'll make the legs work harder. So if you want to add that in, feel free to. You're going to have your low back round a bit into a wall. So you're going to try and keep the low back into the wall for a moment as we do this movement. Bring the arms to cross over your shoulders. Good. So remember where that band was placed at the upper back. You're going to keep that band zone off the wall. So you have to round forward a little bit, keeping the sternum a little soft, breathing and exhaling those ribs down into the floor or down towards the hips. Yeah. And you're going to turn your chest all the way towards the right. So it's as if you've got your elbows that are tucking into a belt or waistline. And you're going to draw those elbows over to the right waist. Seeing if that upper back can stay off the wall. And then do a little bit of a side bend towards that right hip. So right shoulder towards right hip. Yeah. Good. And then come up through center. Round a bit forward, keeping low back to the wall. The upper back space is off the wall. You're breathing, softening the front chest. And then rotate the opposite direction. So your elbows travel towards the left along that belt line, waistline. Yeah, and then get a side bend over to the left. Yeah, so you probably have some wrinkles in that left side of your shirt. Good, and then slowly come through center. I'm gonna do that one more time. Elbows towards the right, rotating, softening front of the chest, side bend towards the right, Oh, and let's add something here on this right side. As you're side bending to the right, pause there, peek down at your chest, your sternum, and see if you can drive that sternum up to face towards the ceiling. So it's a bit of a rotation up and to the right. You're trying to shine your collarbones towards the ceiling. Good, bring that through center. Oof. And let's roll forward. Yeah, that's it. Feel free to pause at any point, breathe or adjust as you need to. So forward, low back towards the wall, upper back is off the wall. Elbows travel towards the left along the left belt line. You might feel some left obliques, left core stuff. Cool, do that side bend to the left, get those left wrinkles in your shirt. And then peek down at your chest and see if you can turn your chest to face any amount towards the ceiling. You might feel some stuff happening in that left side waist. Good, and come on up through center, release the arms down. Bring the hands to the knees. You can keep the booty towards the wall if that feels good. Take another one of those barrel rolls with your chest. One direction and then the other direction. Awesome. And then come off of the wall. Great, we're gonna make our way back down on the floor. And on the floor, you'll need something in your hands. You're gonna sit down on the floor and you'll need either a block in your hands or a hand weight. You could use light or heavy, up to you. You can have options nearby. Gotta do a camera shift here. All right. I'm gonna go with a block myself. I'm gonna hold it between the palms or hold it in both hands, whatever it is, block or weight. Feet to the floor, hips to the floor. I'll start with long Tadasana-like spine. And then exhale, you can soften the ribs a bit, soften the sternum. So it's almost like a bit of a rounding through the upper back. Good, breathing in, expanding into that back rib space where you had the band. Exhale, soften front sternum. Good, take another breath. And this time as you exhale, you're gonna slowly round through the spine. So those low ribs will naturally come closer towards the hips. And you're gonna make your way bit by bit towards the floor. Bringing low back to the mat or floor. And start to reach that object up towards the ceiling. Yeah, I think we'll do that a little bit. We'll add something a little bit later. So go ahead and reach that object towards the knees. Yeah, let's do that now. Awesome. You can bring the heels a little bit closer to the booty if that might be easier to drive the feet down into the floor, get some assist to the feet. All right, breathe in here. Hands are reaching towards the knees with that object. Exhale, round up just through the upper back. So see if you can lift just that upper back space off of the mat. Pause here, and you're gonna rotate a little to the left. So it's as if you're driving this object to the left. You're steering it to the left, yeah? Awesome, come through center. Whew, shaking already. Steer to the right. Good, come through center. Steer left one more time. Ugh. And steer center and right. Good, come through center. Exhale, soften the back down onto the floor. You can relax the elbows by the sides to bend. Let that weight maybe rest on the abdomen or by the hips. And we're gonna try that one more time. And this time we're gonna come on up a little bit higher. So we're gonna try and lift the upper back and a bit of the mid back. So it's gonna be tougher because you're gonna have more of your torso hovering. All right, reach the object towards the knees, arms long. Breath in to fill into the ribs in the back space. Exhale, soften the sternum, those ribs gather down. Breathing in. Exhale to curl on up, upper back, mid back lift. Ooh, I'm gonna step my feet a little bit further away. Steer left. Maybe that left hand comes closer towards the floor. This time, inhale, center. Exhale, steer right. Noticing what you feel. Inhale, center. Exhale, steer left. Great, pressing the palms into the block if you have it, or gripping firm onto that weight if you have it. Center and then right. And then center and hold. And slowly you're gonna curl back up to sit. Great. Set that block down for a moment. Grasp between the knees. Take an inhale, spreading your ribs into that armpit zone. Exhaling, maybe softening the eyes. One more breath, check in with your intention. Good, and then you can swing your legs back behind you. Block off to the side, weight off to the side. And you might want some knee padding for this next one. We'll be doing sliding. So grab your sliders if you have it, if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Something where you can put your forearms or your hands. I'll show you to begin. So yeah, we're gonna do some slides. We're gonna do some holds today with our slides so that we can feel some more of the feels in the trunk of the bod bod. Okay, so you will want some knee padding for this. I'm using a big old blanket so I can have extra padding and space, but you might have a different setup. Okay, so come down to lay on your abdomen like you're setting up for a Sphinx pose. So your legs are back behind you. You could have toes tucked or untucked, it don't matter. And we'll start with the forearms, elbows bent, forearms, or excuse me, elbows underneath the shoulders. You could have palms facing the floor, or you could have palms facing the ceiling. Doesn't matter for this one. What we're gonna focus on is this abdomen that's hanging out here and hovering. Okay, so let's start with a simple reach away. So you're gonna reach your fingertips, or you're gonna slide your forearms forward and just let the chest come towards the floor. The face can softly plant towards the floor. Inhale there, breathe into the back ribs, side ribs. Exhale, bend the elbows and glide those elbows back underneath the shoulders. So a sliding Sphinx. Very good, keep going. Let's go about 3 more. Push forearms away. If you have really humid floors or old hardwood floors, things might get a little sticky, a little textured. That's okay, just do your best. You can do a floor wax maybe next year. Last one, reach away. Exhale, pull, elbows hug in. You can think about those low ribs gathering in. Awesome. Now, when you're in this time, you're gonna steer your fingers to point a little bit to the left. So there's a little bit of a side bend here to the left. Okay, and you're gonna press the slider out to the left any amount. Your belly comes down, head comes down, chest comes down. And then exhale, elbows hug in. Ribs knit down. Let's do one more to the left there. Sliding left. Come in through center. Reset through center for a moment with a breath. Think about pressing the elbows down to press and glide those shoulder blades along the back, protracting. Steer the forearms toward the right any amount. Good, take a big inhale. Exhale, press the arms away. coming down towards the floor. And exhale, elbows pull in, low ribs, gather down, soft sternum. One more, reach. Exhale, and come through center. Good, press on up onto the knees. You can bring your torso upright. If you have a couple blocks, you'll place them on either side of your shins. So we're gonna add this in a moment with a couple other moves for a little flow. If you have hand weights, you'll place them on either sides of your mat. So a couple blocks if you have them on either side, a couple hand weights, and then keep your slider stuff happening out here. Okay, y'all doing okay so far? Yeah, okay, great. All right, for this sliding move, you're gonna come down onto your forearms. I'm gonna go with a karate chop forearm. Okay, so I'm gonna karate chop my pinky ends of my hands into the blanket. This is different sliding from before, but it's got some similarities. Knees are down on the floor. I'm gonna press my slider away and my hips are shifting forward. You're welcome to watch first. I'm gonna come into a kneeling forearm plank for a moment. And I'm gonna hold this and breathe, thinking about my rib cage moving up towards the ceiling. Yeah, thinking about those low ribs, trying to get a little closer towards the hip points, the tops of the hips. Good, and then slowly, I'm gonna shift my hips back and maybe pull the elbows towards my knees. So that's an option to add in. If when you're out in this forearm kneeling plank hold and you get stuck, what can you do? You can drop your belly towards the floor and then maybe slide forward or pull back, okay? So let's do that together. Karate chop, forearms down. And start to push the gliders away. You can exhale here, see if those low ribs can gather down, maybe driving that sternum, rib cage up towards the ceiling. Hips push forward so that your torso comes more parallel with the floor. Hold that and breathe. Yeah, you're like a long, long bridge over a river of space between your sliders and your knees. Good, take another breather here. Expanding into those upper ribs, exhaling. Good, and then maybe you pull those knees, elbows back. Oof. Good, lift the spine up. We'll do more of those, but we're gonna add it in here with the camel. Hands come back to blocks, or you can let the hands be free. Breath. Exhale, shift the hips forward as you lean back, lifting through the front of your chest. And take an inhale and exhale there. Remember, you can break, take a break, or do what you need to at any point. Let's see if the fingertips, if they're on the block, see if the fingertips can get a little light. Light touch, making the torso work a little bit more. Good, then up you come. Hands off the blocks. Lean your body weight into your right foot. I know my head is cut off here. We'll go with it. Swing that left foot out to your left like a Captain Morgan type position. Yeah, bada bang. Grab your left hand weight if you have it. You could use a block if you don't have a hand weight. That's totally fine. And you're gonna bring that hand weight in your right hand. Good. Wing it out to the right. And you can turn your chest to the right. So you're rotating here, chest rotating up. And then bring that hand weight and the chest faces towards the left leg. We're on this left leg out to the left. And take the weight and transfer it over to your left hand. Wing that left weight out wide to the left and turn your chest any amount towards the left. Nice, then switch hands. You're gonna Take the weight underneath the leg to the right hand. Open up, twisting right. Yep. And then the left hand, flying left arm weight out left, chest rotates any amount. Let's go 2 more of those. If you feel like getting fancy with more speed, you could do that. If you want to get more challenge on that back leg, you could lift that back knee. Nice, yes, this is spinal rotation. Beautiful. All right, plant that hand weight down to the left. Good, come upright with the spine. Lean into your right knee and bring that left knee back in place underneath your left hip. Forearms down to the blanket or sliders. Breathe in. Exhale, start to push away. Good, find that hover and breathe. Rounding a bit through the upper back. Pull the elbows in if you're going for that route, or you can drop down the belly for a rest. Let's do 1 more round here before we move on to the other side of Captain Morgan. Push forward. Long, long, long. You can think, maybe this might help. Some of you can think a little bit about a tail tuck under, almost like you're humping the space underneath your pelvis, yeah. Getting some more movement through those low ribs, oh, excuse me, low abs. All right, pull the elbows towards knees. Ugh. Come on up with your head and trunk. Lean to the left knee, bring that right foot out wide to the right. Grab your right hand weight or block and find your flies from side to side. Chest rotates. Rest of the body stays pretty stable for now. Just to focus more on that spinal movement deep in your core. This is a little bit like being at the grocery store down at on the lowest part of the shelf, and you're passing a heavy bag of rice to your person that's maintaining the cart. Ugh. Or whatever you might do that's down on the ground that involves lifting and turning. Last one, left side, right side. Good, hand weight goes down. Whoops. Can bring that right foot in, right knee underneath, right hip. 1 more round. Oh, camel, forgot about camel. 1 more round of camel, please. So fingertips can reach back, really guiding the pinkies back behind you. Get the little tricep work. Hips press forward and then lift the chest. Getting a bit of counter pose for the front of your abdomen here, front chest. 2 more breaths. Is it possible, even in this position, to expand those back ribs? Good, slowly coming upright. Last one, forearms on the sliders. Press away. Yep, if you don't have sliders, remember, you could just come onto a forearm plank, see what that's like. And in the forearm plank, or wherever your forearms are, yeah, you can think about the forearms really pulling towards the knees. They might not move, but think about dragging the forearms and elbows towards the toes or the knees. Yeah. Last 2 breaths. I know my breath counting is not very accurate, but here you are, feeling what you feel. And then you can slowly pull your way back out of that. And either child's pose or kneeling rest. Or heck, maybe you take another camel pose because it feels interesting to you. Letting your intention filter in. All right, moving on to your back. You'll need a light, medium, or heavy weight, up to you. I'll show you what we're doing first. Let me check my plan. Yes. So I'm gonna go with a 10-pounder. I wanna feel a little bit of stuff here for myself. So I'm on the back. You're welcome to watch first. Knees bent, feet to the floor. Similar to the beginning of class, you're gonna have the weight reaching up towards the ceiling, kind of like how we had the band with the arms punching up towards the ceiling. But for this one, we're gonna go with maybe feet off the floor. All right, and then we'll build up to the weight reaching overhead. So my arms are coming to frame my face. And actually this weight is pretty challenging here. So I'm gonna pause at this moment, because if I went any further, my ribs are gonna pop towards the ceiling. And I'm wanting to focus a bit more awareness at building that strength around the core. All right, so go ahead and join me. Now that you know what it looks like, you can choose your weight. Yeah, maybe it's a block. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a lighter weight. Whatever it may be for you. On the back. And, you know, let's start together with feet on the floor. Let's do that first. Reach the weight up towards the ceiling. Arms reach long away from you. Soften down the sternum. It's like your chest bone gets a little bit heavier, but the arms keep reaching. Yeah. Take a breath into the back rib space. Exhale those low ribs. Gather in and down. See if you can maintain that contraction around the low abdomen. Keep breathing. And maintaining that contraction around the low abdomen, can you start to bring that weight overhead any amount? Yes, you will likely sense some stuff happening in the underarms if the weight is challenging enough. And I do invite you to find a weight that feels challenging to you. Slowly bring the weight up again to point towards the ceiling. And now if you want, you can lift the feet off the floor. So knees about 90 or so. Good, find that inhale into the back rib space. Exhale, soften the sternum. Gather the low ribs down. And keep breathing as you bring the weight overhead again, any amount. What is that? Sorry about the interruption. I think my phone ringer. Oh, it's off. All right. Bring the weight back up. Now this time, if you want to add in a little bit of trickiness, you're going to breathe, same as before. Inhale, exhale, soft sternum, low ribs gather. Keep that. Weight goes overhead. And if you want here, you can tap one heel down, ooh, and bring it back up. And then tap the other heel down. Low rib extravaganza, excuse me, low ab extravaganza. Yeah, toe heel taps. And awareness as you do this, awareness into the low ribs. So are they doing that kind of flare out thing? Can you do the opposite and gather them down in, kind of like they're two wings that are wrapping around a bird Bird's body, yeah. Last one, left and right. Good, bring the feet to the floor. Weight comes in front of you and then you can set the weight down for a moment. Arms rest by the sides. Good, take a breather. Notice how you're feeling in this moment. Good, and I know that there might be some questions after that one about low back. Like, do I keep my low back flat on the floor? Do I keep a little space underneath my low back? And I'm going to defer, first of all, if you have a PT, a physical therapist, or a doc that's given you a specific for your body, to go with that. And then beyond that, I say play with both and see what feels most supportive for you. And it might change from day to day. So that's where I'm at with that today. Okay. Okay. Slowly, you're going to place your hands by your sides, palms facing towards the ceiling. Good, feet to the floor, knees bent. Breathe into that upper back. Exhale, soften sternum. Lift the head, chin tucks in. Lift the head and upper shoulders. Breathe in here. Exhale, slowly curl up another 2 inches. Breathe here. Exhale, slowly curl up another inch or 2. Breathe here. Another lift. Good. Bring the arms to cross, fingertips tap over the shoulders. So you're not all the way up and you're not all the way down. You're kind of hovering in the middle, wherever it feels challenging to you right now. Steer your chest towards the right. Do a little side bend to the right, finding those crinkles in the right shirt. Uncrinkle that right sideways. Steer the chest through center. Oof. And steer chest left. Side waist bend on that left side. Unwrinkle that left side. Ah. And then bring the hands underneath the knees and rise on up. Tall spine, full breath. And exhale. Good. Swing the legs back behind you or come onto the knees. And locate 2 hand weights. We're going to first do a bit of kneeling overhead work, and then we'll do some standing. My camera has to adjust for a moment. All right. So on kneeling knees, you're welcome to have pad of blanket underneath. 2 hand weights or 2 blocks. Those work great too. Or 2 heavy bucks. All right, our focus has been on this front side abdomen today. It's a little bit of rotation. So you're gonna bring your arms out into a cactus-like shape, holding your objects. Toes could be tucked or untucked. You're gonna aim to keep your chest pretty stable here. So breathe into that back rib space. Exhale. Good, 1 more, breathe in. Exhale, wrap the ribs around the spine. See if you can maintain that 360 wrapping as you reach the arms overhead any amount. Your elbows might straighten or they might not. As you reach those arms overhead, notice, did the chest poof out in front, or can you keep it gathered in and down? Bend the elbows. Continue, press the weight up. Woof. And bend the elbows. Go slow on the come down. Yeah, go again, reach up. Nice and slow on the reverse. Yeah, that's the eccentric portion of the movement. That's when the muscle is in more of a stretched position. Last one, punch up And slowly come down. Good, actually one more, just sensing that low rib space and what its tendency might be. Good, you can bring the weights down. Actually hug them into the chest for a moment. And come up to stand. So when we come up to stand with these hand weights, there's gonna be more of a tendency, since we're further away from the floor, there's gonna be more tendency for the ribs and body to do more moving. So you're gonna wanna resist that so that we can build the stuff here. Feet underneath the hips-ish, little soft knees. Good, weights and arms come out into that cactus-like shape. Good, find a breath into the back rib space. Exhale, soft sternum, ribs wrapping. Cool, take another breath in. Exhale. Good, and then another breath in, and then on the exhale, you can reach the weights up. Inhale on the down movement. Exhale to press. Good, keep going. If you want a little bit more feedback, you could do this against the wall as we did towards the beginning of class, but different against the wall. You would have your upper back against the wall. Last one, up, noticing those low ribs, and down with the elbows. And slowly let the arms hang down by the sides. Take some shoulder rolls. Change directions. Good. Set the weights or blocks down. And we have time for a little bit of integration into a more classic yoga pose, which is down dog, but we're gonna do it at the wall if you have space. You're gonna place your hands against the wall, step the feet back. If you don't have space, you could do this against a bed, the edge of a bed, or a couch, or you could go ahead and do this on the mat in a classic down dog. We'll meet you there in a moment. Hands a little bit wider than the shoulders. Step the feet back far enough away from the wall so that your spine and legs can make a bit of this like L shape. Cool. You're gonna have straight arms to begin. Notice what's going on in the low ribs, yeah? And you firm up around that low abdomen. Then once you've got that, you can bend the elbows out wide and the tip of the head is gonna come towards the wall in between the hands. Keeping those low ribs gathered in, you're gonna press the wall away, straightening through the arms. Yeah, bend the elbows, head comes between the hands. Staying firm along the trunk, exhale, press back. Keep going. Maybe there's a little bit of that rounding, poofing up of the upper back into the shoulder blades or towards the ceiling. Great, two more. Nice, looking good and strong. You can slowly lean your weight, or excuse me, walk your feet towards your hands. Bring the hands off the wall or object. Make your way down onto the floor, hands and knees. This is a wide hand down dog, so hands are wider than the shoulders. Keep hips lifted towards the ceiling. Check in with your intention. Good, take a breath, inhaling into that upper back space, armpit ribs. Exhale, low ribs gathering down. Breathing in, exhaling. On your next inhale, you're gonna bend the elbows out wide. Tip of the head comes towards the floor. And then exhale, press away. There we go, that's better. Inhale, elbows bend. Exhale, press away. Can you do this on the knees? For sure. Great. And the last attempt at this pressing action. Good. If the knees aren't tapped down, you can tap them down. Sweep the arms by the legs, resting the head to the floor, or you could grab a block and rest the forehead on the top of a block. Breathing, noticing. On your next breath, you can make your way up and swing your legs out from underneath you. Come onto your back. Lay long. We'll do a stretch here. This is one of my all-time faves for a little core breath. You're going to bring your legs together to touch. Yeah, so the legs are going to move as one. You're going to shift your legs both over to the left. So it's like a banana. We're making a banana leg shape, yeah? Left hip, that left hip, left butt cheek is on the floor, right butt cheek's on the floor. So your whole butt's just hanging on the floor, but both heels are shifting over to the left. Rest your left hand on your abdomen for now. Get a sense of your breath. And sweep that right arm along the ear. You can let that right arm hang out on the floor along the right side of your head. And see if you can breathe into this right side waist from your right hip to your right shoulder. And then you can do whatever you want with your left arm. Maybe it comes up to frame the left side of your head. Maybe it goes somewhere else. So side stretch. Maybe you feel like you can move those heels a little bit further to the left now. Can that front chest bone just drift a bit closer towards the floor? Knowing that whatever's going on for you right now is part of your experience and valid, so acknowledging that. And slowly start to bring the arms down, heels come in towards center, and find a breath while you're in center, just to sense any difference from left side waist to your right side waist. Maybe there's something to notice from side to side, or maybe there's not for you. Being open to what you experience there. Let's take both heels over to the right side. Different side, totally different thing going on over here. Same pose, but sides of the body can be very different. Both heels over to the right, any amount. Left arm might come up to frame left side of the head. Right palm can hang out on the abdomen. Softening the eyes if that feels comfortable. Expanding some breath into that left armpit region, left side ribs. And even though the right side of your rib cage is compressed on this in this position, you might see if you can direct breath into that wrinkle side of your right shirt. Option to bring the right arm into a different position. Option to maybe find a bit of a deeper banana bend for the last 2 breaths. I'm just noticing what's going on with the low ribs. And slowly you can bring the legs back through center, arms hang out by the sides perhaps, and start to get comfortable for the final integration or final relaxation or rest. And I know some of you like to do your final rest in a seated meditation seat. So if you want, you can come up into a seated meditation seat, or you can hang out in a more classic Shavasana, or perhaps you use props. Whatever you choose, make sure you're cozy for the next few minutes. You know, cozy on a hot 90-degree day. Cozy with whatever you need to be comfortable. Let the eyelids get a little heavy. Invite an exhale, maybe through the mouth. And bring your awareness to reside in the lower part of your body, from the hips to the feet. Encouraging with each exhale a bit of letting go through the ankles, the knees, and the hips. So letting gravity do the work from the hips to the toes. And then bring awareness towards the upper body, from the shoulders all the way down towards the hands. Inviting ease through the wrists, elbows, all the way towards the shoulders. And encourage that ease to travel also along the neck, the base of the skull, around the jaw. Softening through the tongue and around the eyelids. And then just letting your awareness expand a bit wider, longer, deeper, just to encapsulate your entire body with your awareness for the next few breaths. And you can let your awareness come back towards the exhale. Recalling your intention one last time, if you set one, just noting your intention. And you're welcome to stay as you are and continue resting and breathing. Or if you'd like, you could make your way up towards the seat, or maybe open the eyes and take in the soft sights around you. And thank you all for joining live. Great to see your faces and see your bodies moving, and great to know that there are others out there as well watching the recording, and glad you're there. If you have any questions, feel free to hang out for the next few minutes here if you're live, or you can always reach out to me via email, and happy to chat there too. And I'll see you next week.